It's been 1 year since I started my business. 1 entire year since I got my first paid client. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing my 11 lessons from this past 1 year, whether that's energetic or strategic. I'm Prathna, and you're listening to Rebel with a Purpose. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad that you're giving your energy and time to something worthwhile and something that's definitely going to bring value to your business and your career as a coach or service based entrepreneur. So, to start off with, what a business does is that it holds a mirror. What I mean by that is that it holds a mirror to all your stuckness, your shame, your fear, your blocks, your limiting beliefs. And it also brings that all to the surface. So, this whole year has been that for me. It's been me just facing any shame I have around money, the guilt for asking for money, the feeling of not good enough, imposter syndrome, and feeling like a fraud, being a coach at such a young age, looking much younger than I actually am, and people asking me what I do constantly, not understanding, being confused about what I do, and misunderstanding my purpose over here. As a coach, I would say the first thing I learned when I started my coaching business a year ago was not to compromise my authenticity because of my limiting beliefs. So I had this huge belief that, I'm young, I'm going to be attracting other people like me, other women, other Indians, other youngsters, other, young people. And that's why my first niche was actually purpose coaching for students. Purpose coaching only for students or fresh grads. Why? Because I was young and I thought that that's the only market that would want to work with me because I'm young, and they would also be attracted to me because I'm young, which is kind of true, but that's not what's not true is that they were the only market that would want to work with me. Over the past year, I have worked with people double my age, I have worked with people triple my age, and I have worked with people from all over the world, and I've actually worked with more non-Indians than Indians. Most 90% of my clients are from different parts of the world, ranging from Nice to Belgium to New Jersey. So it's just not true that you'll only attract people of your origin or of your nationality, and you'll only attract people of your age. That's a complete limiting belief. Even my coach at the time told me to focus on things that would be easier to sell in terms of Instagram growth marketing, right? Like when you sell yourself as an Instagram growth coach, there's a tangible result, which is that your Instagram followers will increase after you work with me. And so it's easier to sell when it's tangible. Utter bullshit. It's not easier to sell when it's tangible. It is easy to sell anything as long as you believe in it. You're completely in alignment with your niche. It gives you that fire. It makes you feel alive. If it does, and if those conversations that you have with your clients give you that feeling of aliveness and you're passionate about it, and that's enough for you to be like, okay, this is my niche. This is what I want to go ahead with, regardless of what is easier to sell. You can make it easier to sell if you are completely in alignment with that niche. Your passion will speak for itself. Your craft will speak for itself. When you become really, really good at what you do, people are going to be desperate to work with you and pay any price, right? So focus on becoming really, really good at that one thing or those two things or those three things that you're very, very passionate about. And that's what I teach in this workshop I'm having called Niching Up, which is in December this month, 16th and 17th at 7 p.m. IST. So if you are interested in understanding how to build your niche, just DM me on Instagram at Purpose with Pratna with the word NU, with the letters NU. Moving on to the second lesson that I learned this year in my business was choosing a niche, choosing this ikigai, my business ikigai that is completely in alignment with myself. When I started off, I did purpose coaching, then I did Instagram growth coaching, and now finally I have found a niche that makes me feel alive, that makes me feel like I'm living in alignment to my true purpose and my soul, and that is aligned business for the heart led. I only work with people I want to work with. I'm very clear about my ideal clients, my aligned clients. I know exactly the kind of qualities that I want to work with in these clients. I know what it means to be a coach now and how it's not a 50-50 and it's actually a 70-30, where the client takes 70% of the effort, they put in the action, and the 30% comes from the coach nudging them and directing them towards the right direction for them, towards their intuitive calling, towards their alignment. And that's what I do as a coach. I rarely give advice, but it's more of asking questions to guide you on the right path, in the right direction, right? In terms of what is in alignment with you. Number three, the most important rule, which is there are no rules. That's the most important rule in business, where rock stars, all we need to do is that focus on what truly makes us successful, which is building dope shit, right? That we are obsessed with and that people love. Building dope shit that we're obsessed with and that people love, and selling that. being good at selling that because we believe in our product first, we believe in our service first. And that's what rock stars do, is that we work on building dope shit that people love, that we're obsessed with. And that's the path to success. It's having fun in the process. It's building something fulfilling. People say, like, oh, how can we build a fun business and earn a lot of money every month? Actually, they both go hand in hand. You are earning so much every month because of the fact that you're having fun in your business, not despite the fact that you're having fun. It's because you're having fun in your business. It's because you're going crazy with your ideas. It's because you're thinking out of the box, and you only think out of the box when you allow yourself to go crazy and wild and actually have fun with the process. If you follow the status quo, if you follow the herd, you are not going to be the person who thinks out of the box. You are not going to be extraordinary. To be extraordinary, you need to take action that is extraordinary. You can't do the ordinary and do what 99% of the people around you are doing. You got to be like, what is something that's going to 10x my growth? And that's going to require you to think out of the box. Number four, which is be the first buyer of what you're selling. What this means is sell yourself before getting on sales calls. Because if you are not fully sold about your offer, how are you going to go on the call and talk about it like it's going to change their life? How are you going to go on the call and talk about the transformations if you yourself are not fully sold on the transformations, if you yourself don't completely believe in the transformations that you are offering to people, right? So that was very important, is understanding that I need to be the first buyer of what I'm selling. I need to want it super bad, or my past version needs to want it super bad. Like, create something that your past version would look at and be like, no brainer, I'm in. No brainer, I'm in. I want it. And that's how that excitement, that 100% yes needs to come from your offer for yourself, for your past version. And number five, sell the way that you want to be sold to, right? So if you're asking for discounts, if you're not being the buyer that you want to attract, and you're asking for discounts, you're negotiating, then you're going to get buyers who are also negotiating with you and asking for discounts, right? So sell the way that you want to be sold to. Stop asking for discounts. Pay in full if you're able to afford that. Take the leap, take the risk, be brave enough. And I know it's much easier said than done, but it requires so much bravery and so much commitment to just be like, this is half of what I've earned this year and I'm ready to invest it. It's half of what I've earned. I'm investing 14x of my monthly income in this. Oh my God, like, does this make sense? It's not supposed to make sense because you're doing what 99% of the people would not do. That's the difference between you and the crowd, between you and the masses. The next one is that your first year of business will start with your friends or with your mutual friends becoming your clients because of the certain level of trust that they've already gained with you. When you're on the first year of the business, most of your clients will be referrals, word of mouth, friends, mutual friends, being part of the same community, and that similarity building more trust. That's where it's going to start. But that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. That's a trend that happens when you just started your business, is that you are going to be attracting people who already know you a bit, already have this point of similarity because they have a little higher level of trust than anyone else. And because of this higher level of trust, they're ready to invest in you much more easily than anyone else. Number seven, invest in mentorship like your life depends on it. Because it does, and it's going to help you quantum leap. You are literally paying money to save time. So you are giving money in exchange for time. Money is something you can get back, but time is a resource that can never be replenished, right? So you don't want to be spending so much time in your head alone, because being an entrepreneur in this journey, especially in the first year of business, it gets lonely, it gets really chaotic, it gets really frustrating. And you don't want to be wasting all that time just being alone in your head and driving yourself crazy. You want to be spending that time with mentors, with people who are aspiring, with people who are like-minded, with people who are ambitious, go-getters, who don't make you sound crazy for being a delusional dreamer, who don't make you sound crazy for wanting too much out of life, who don't make you sound crazy for being too much. So you want to be investing in mentorship. You want to be investing in communities that show you that what you want from life, it's possible because they're doing it. So you see that they're doing it. You hear their stories. You're in close proximity with them, and you're like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. And seeing it as inspiration, taking inspiration from these people, from these communities, from your mentors, that will quantum leap you in itself. And then, of course, the learning is a whole other reason to invest in a mentorship. Number eight, build a unique methodology. And this took me months to create, but something that you've used on yourself and a few clients so that you have that proof of concept and you've tested this methodology and pivot every time something doesn't work for someone or something feels off or misaligned in your body. You can always pivot and you can always evolve. And that's what great entrepreneurs do, is that every time something doesn't seem to be working right, you quickly adapt, you quickly pivot. And that's something I learned this year in my business, was to pivot when things didn't work, was to pivot when methodologies didn't work, when I felt misaligned with a certain methodology, when I was like, okay, I haven't embodied this. How can I teach on this? I haven't embodied it in my experience. How can I teach on this? So I decided to not. And I only taught on what I completely embodied in my mind, body, soul, all of it together. And I took months of inner work to do the embodiment and then go out there and sell that program with my embodied experience. And that's why it sold. That's why it sold well. And that's why I got booked out. Number nine is understanding what clients I really didn't want to work with. Actually, the past week itself has been a testimony of me understanding what kind of clients came into my environment and into my world that I felt were not aligned. I didn't really kind of gauge it initially during our sales call. I didn't really understand it completely whether this client was my ideal client or not, but they were so into the experience of working with me. They were so ready to just give me their money. And I felt like that itself was such a huge commitment. However, the fact, just because someone is ready to commit to you and give you money doesn't mean that they'll always be an aligned client. And this happened with two of my clients recently, where they loved my masterclass, they loved my workshop, they loved my energy. They came on a sales call ready to pay up. They asked me questions. They didn't even let me ask them questions on a sales call. They were like, okay, so we want to know about your program, like how long is it, how many sessions, like what transformation do we get out of it? They were all in on the sales call to buy. As soon as they entered the sales call, they were ready to buy. And the same clients actually who did that were the clients who were very difficult to work with, the clients who expected instant results, the clients who expected quick money. And that's not something I guarantee. That's not something I provide. I'm helping to build a fulfilling, sustainable business. The solid foundations need to be laid, and it takes time for foundations to be laid. This is a business, a legacy that you're going to leave for a lifetime. It's going to take a while, and so what? If you want to build your legacy on strong grounds and allow that to take time, slow down in this process of building this legacy, building these foundations. They're the most important. Without the foundation, the building's going to crash. The building's going to break. So you need the foundations and let it take time. There is no quick results over here. It's about building a fulfilling business on strong grounds. So if you're ready for that, then we'll talk. Then we'll see how committed you are to this process of understanding what is truly in alignment with you and building a business that is completely in alignment with what feels alive in your heart and soul. Number 10 is that content is a byproduct of living your experience, of living your life, of living this embodied alive experience. And you don't need a block of content days except for editing. And that's what I do. So I all my content is created from me just living the byproduct of my life, me being brave, me taking a step forward, me investing in mentors, me listening to mentors, me getting inspired, me coaching clients, me having real life experiences like going for a concert and how I connect that with business, me going for a surf camp and connecting that with business. I had a post on what surfing taught me about entrepreneurship. So it's all a byproduct of me living life, me putting myself out of my comfort zone. And that's where the content ideas come from. And it's the most authentic, real way of creating content. There is no framework, as I said in point three, that there is no framework, there are no rules. We're rock stars, we don't have rules. The only rule is that there are no rules in business, right? You go create what your heart calls out for, go create what you're passionate about, and that people are obsessed with. And that's why the proof of concept. And this is how I also create my offers. It's a complete inside out methodology that I teach my clients, which is you start from within, you start from what feels most alive, most powerful in your body. You create the offer, then you go out there, you validate it by getting on calls with people, doing the market research, and seeing how people resonate with your offer, and then changing the language, changing the structure, pivoting when you need to. And that creates the whole holistic offer that then you can go out there and sell with your heart and soul, because you've spoken to people, you've seen the need in the market, you've seen the need in your past version, and that's the biggest testimony. And that's why I always start with my past version, my testimonial, going back to my experience. And number 11, which is the last lesson, the last and most important lesson that I learned from this year was the 80-20 rule, which is letting go of all these things that I thought were needed to start my business that weren't really serving me or giving me those clients, building a website, focusing on my brand colors, focusing on my Instagram curated feed. None of that really matters. Focusing on my bio, I spent so much time over obsessing on my bio and what I wanted it to be. And that bio keeps evolving. Even now, it keeps evolving. There is no It makes no sense, logical sense, to spend so much time on a bio when your content and your authentic expression online is what's going to help you be magnetic online and actually bring in the clients. So 80% of the things I was doing was not bringing me clients, was not bringing me success, was not bringing me impact, was not bringing me income. The 20% of things, which was getting on sales calls, talking to clients, having conversations to build trust, and then converting these conversations is what brought me clients. So understanding that hard work only does not lead to success, and it's aligned work that leads to success, and understanding that there are 20% of things that you're doing that is income making tasks, and there are those 80% of things that you can either delete from your schedule or you can outsource. And when you start doing that, you make life a lot easier, you make business a lot simple, you make it much more reachable and fun. And when you're having fun, the business will bloom, because a business, as I said in the beginning, is a reflection of you. And so if you're having fun and you're enjoying and having a good time, your business is going to see that, connect with that energy, bring in more clients, bring in more abundance, because you're so open. Your heart chakra becomes open when you're having fun and having a good time. So that's what I focus on. It's not just hard work, it's aligned work. It's understanding what feels most aligned, what feels most alive in your body at that particular time. So conscious effort is super important, but it needs to be in the right direction. Intentional up-leveling, making decisions from a place of heart and soul and intuition, knowing why you want to invest in this particular coach. Having that vision, that big dream, that delusional dream, and having people around you that support that dream and see the possibility that you see for yourself. Because sometimes you see a possibility in your life that probably your parents don't see for you. Probably your friends and your closest friends don't see for you. I actually had a friend from Boston, a really good friend of mine, who when I started my business was like, coaching just seems like a scam, man. What are you doing? It just seems like a scam. And today he's like, the older I get, the more respect I have for the work you do. The older I get, the more respect I have for the work you do. And I'm so, so proud of you, Pratu. And he says this to me on the call and just fills my heart with joy, even though I haven't directly said this to him and he probably doesn't know. It makes me feel so good when he says this, but I'm so proud that he went from what the fuck you doing? Like it's a scam to I respect you and I respect your art and I respect what you're doing on a daily. So I really hope you enjoy these 11 lessons that I shared with you today. What I do, if you don't know all about me and if you would like to learn more about me, is that I teach my clients how to build fun and fulfilling legacies with my uniquely yours and higher self method that helps each client find and live their ikigai through their legacy according to their human design and their alignment. And for me, it's very important that every client lives in their alignment so that they don't feel stuck, they don't feel lost in their business, and they don't get wrapped up in all these business guru rules that are out there. Because as rock stars that we are, we don't follow rules, okay? We rebel, and that's what makes us stand out. We rebel in alignment with ourselves. We take risks, we go through failure, like knowing it's a stepping stone to success. We go through failure knowing that it's unavoidable, it's inevitable, right? Failure is inevitable. Okay, it's gonna happen. I've had clients who've like midway stopped working with me and been like, we don't want to work with you anymore because we feel like you're not empathetic enough. And I have never heard that about me, but I've realized why the client has said that or what has brought them to say that. And a lot of times it has a lot more to do with the client than it ever has to do with you. So stop taking these things personally. Become unfuckwithable, literally. Become so powerful that these things don't affect you, and regardless of the failures, and allow it to affect you for a bit, but be resilient enough to get back up, to dust yourself, to go back towards your vision, because your vision itself is so powerful and so in alignment with yourself that you know deep in your heart that the reason why you have such a deep vision is because you have such a deep desire to get there, and because the universe knows you're extremely capable to get there, which is why you have the desire, which is why you have the vision. So all I want to say to end of this episode is that trust in your vision, trust in your desires. Your desires are your compass. They're leading you to some place. And every time there's a lot of resistance, a lot of suffering in a path, that is telling you where not to go in life. So suffering is a signal too. Desires are a signal too. Follow your desires, move away from suffering. And I know Buddhism talks about how desires are the root cause of suffering, but that's only if you attach yourself to the desires, which is what another thing that I learned actually in this business was be committed to building the successful legacy, to attracting your clients, to impacting deeply. Be committed to that process, but at the same time, be unattached. Unattached that your worth is not attached to your success. Your worth is not attached to the number of clients you get. Your worth is not attached to the income you're making on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly. Your worth is its own. Your worth is independent. Your worth is inherently high. There is nothing that you can do that will degrade your worth or that will increase your worth. Your worth is independent. There is absolutely nothing that you can do to degrade or increase your worth. Anyways, that was the end of this episode. You're listening to Rebel with a Purpose, and I'm Pratna signing off.